Okay, so here's Meltzer responding to being called an AEW shill. And
or maybe the person that told you misinformed you and you don't use them at a source anymore.
I mean, that stuff happens all the time, but I mean, as far as anything, nothing specific, pops into my mind. I mean, there definitely been situations where there were a couple situations where, somebody pranked me, if that's the right word, and everything. And,
and then I reported fake news, and it was just a prank. But
eventually, I found out about it. But yeah, it happened. I'm a lot more careful about it because of that. And it was a good learning experience.
Right. Well, I always think, bro, with the amount of information that you put out there and write and cover, and it's hard to fact check everything. You have to.
Then don't say it, Konnan. See, this is why people are mad at Konnan. Then Konnan, don't say it. That's what you should be telling Dave. Dave, if you can't fact check everything you say and you write 5,000 words, write 2,000 words that you fact checked and say what you know.
In a way, trust your source, right? And you obviously get credible sources that over the years of giving you good information.
What?
Huh? I mean, like when it comes to just an example with WWE or AEW for that matter, if there's pretty much anything of any significance, I mean, I'm immediately checking with multiple people in both companies,
right,
for all that stuff. And I mean, things happen and whatever all the time.
Right.
Matches are scheduled for, like a match will be scheduled and then they'll maybe add.
So he goes like, mostly everything WWE and AEW is, I know everything about it. Then why were you wrong about the Rock stuff? Why do you never know anything about any of this stuff? Why are you wrong all the time then? That's what I don't understand.
Third person to the match. I mean, it's like, you probably do that every week. You know what I mean? Where you have, this is my card, and then all of a sudden something happens, somebody gets hurt, or you have an idea and just go, hey, let's spice it up this way, or for political reasons, got to do it this way, whatever, So
so you were wrong on the night because this is what I mean. So he's like, sure, on the night of the show. So you can be wrong up until when The Rock shows up. And then when he shows up, well, they just made the change last minute. That's what Fightful tried to do with the CM Punk thing. No, Punk was signed right then and there. Yeah, sure. He signed when he pulled up to the building, but they knew for months. They were teasing him on TV. They were hiding it in the background of graphics, promoting their shows. They had all new graphics made. The band Living Color redid the song again so that they own the rights to it, right? They did that twice now, once for Guitar Hero and now again for Punk. And the whole thing was planned. This didn't just come together. It was like, okay, so they did the same. He teased it. What happened too, this is how far back, and we covered it on the show, at CFFC, Punk months before, like right after he was fired and like appeared again doing commentary when War Pigs, the theme for Survivor Series, was playing in between fights where Punk is a commentator and Punk was on the mic talking about their teasing and doing WWE jokes and stuff. And then he returned at Survivor Series where War Pigs was the theme. And he was there. Like, this was months in the making. All the dirt sheets tried to tell you it wasn't happening. And then they had the inside scoop the night of. It just came together. They had CM Punk graphics made up in Living Color, redid their whole song and uploaded it to Spotify and dropped it. And they had it loaded up. And it's licensed for the new video game. In 2K25, they just whipped Punk in the DLC with his theme that Living Color gave them the right. So they worked out a whole new deal and all that. That just happened on the night. Man, these people lie through their teeth.
The easiest thing, bro, it's so easy for everybody to play armchair booker. I would have done it this way. I would have done it that way, and there's no promotion that gets grades across the board. Like, how would I put this? Where everybody likes everything. Right? Everybody's like, well, if you don't do it my way, fans, it's not good.
Well,
that's literally what Meltzer does. That's literally what Dave Meltzer and the audience and the people he's cultivated do. We don't do that. I fantasy mark book the bloodline, and when it doesn't happen the way I plan it out, you guys hear it on the show all the time. I go, awesome, because I was shocked. And I didn't expect that to happen. Hey, this is what I would do, but I just trust WWE right now. They're cooking. That's what I always tell you guys. We're not mad. That's what Meltzer and these goofs do.
There's a million ways you can do it. I mean, one of the things that I've noticed, just like I'll sometimes, whatever promotion, you know, I'll sit and go, I would do it this way. Okay. But that doesn't mean that if you don't do it this way, it's wrong.
Right.
Because I could come up with like 5 different ways as you could for almost anything. You know, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And nobody's spot on. I mean, I mean, it isn't like Terry Funk, who was an absolute genius at this business, right? Or you know, I mean, you know, it's
what Terry said one time that was.
Okay, so what they're talking about, we're gonna share this one next. So here is and betonline.ag sponsor me. I'll do ad reads. What do you guys? So here's Disco. Like he can't even get that question out.
This one in the Patreon mailbag this week. Hey, Joe, you gotta be queued up for this and ready for this. Hey, K100 crew, Tad from H-Town. Subject is Meltzer. Thanks for a great show every week. My question is about Dave Meltzer. I listened to the entire interview. Not a fan of Dave's opinions, but it's great to just hear someone who knows so much about the business and the history. Overall, after hearing the interview, I want to know, why do all of you truly think he wouldn't come on with Disco being there? Disco would have been just as respectful. All right, I heard the interview, Konnan. The parts I heard were kind of a love fest between you and Dave, and I want to talk about that we should have had. That's the song we should play for the UMS. So when it came time to ask my
let me
question,
cut you off right here.
He just cuts him off right then. Disco doesn't even get a chance to say it, and then Feeney's like, "Oh, here we go."
No. Let me cut you off all that. No, all that.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Feeney's
say
always
this.
so chill.
I've said it a million times, and I know you're saying it to rile me up because you know he's my boy.
But anyway,
you want me to do to bring him on here and
he's melting down like Konnan.
insult him and offend him so he never comes on again? Is that what you wanted? I think I asked him a couple tough questions. I asked the 2 questions you wanted.
No,
all right?
you did not. You did not answer.
I wouldn't have called it a love fest, though.
Ask my question.
I don't need you to be on my side.
Well, of course you're on his side because this was a concerted.
Feeney, it was a love fest. Come on, because Konnan wasn't giving him, like, not pushing back on anything. But I do get it from Conan's perspective. He's like old. He's like, why do I want to argue with Meltzer? You know, I've been reading his thing. We've been friends. Let's just have him on the show and hear what he has to say and just give answers. And then we get to EFAP it and go, oh, look, Meltzer's a lying putz. It's not on Konnan to call him out, but like Disco wasn't on the show. Disco bowed out. Otherwise, Meltzer wouldn't have came on. If you can't handle Disco's questions for you. Also, Disco is like trying to hold Konnan's feet to the fire. He should have popped up. If I was them, I'd have just given Disco the link or something. But yeah, it's just Konnan gave him a softball interview. You can't expect Konnan to be like the arbiter of the IWC and I'm going to ask all the Mark questions. And there were a lot of people like trashing Meltzer in the super chats too. So I get why you don't want to just read every super chat as him being trashed too, because that isn't a good look. Like, listen, if he was here, I'd read whatever you guys super chatted in, right? That's part of the show. The thing is, like, you can trash me, fucking super chat it in, you know? I'll read it and I'll put it on the screen. I'll respond to it. The thing is like, I get why Konnan, he's older. He doesn't want to deal with this. However, at the same time, like, it's K100. So the whole idea of the show is nobody's got the takes like us. We talk about sports, politics, the hot news, all that. And they're like, we're keeping it 100 about everything. But it's like, man, then you got to hold his feet to the fire in that sense. You know what I mean? Or don't.
An effort to minimize my question. I thought it was actually a premeditated. Absolutely. I asked the question.
God, what a fucking
Let me finish.
Off.
Can I talk here? I asked the question.
Really? Is that what you're telling me now? Let me finish. Can I talk now when you always interrupt me? And now you get mad. You got a lot of balls, Disco, but go ahead.
Okay. You asked my question. Okay. Joe, immediately when the question, at the very last syllable with you said the question, Joe goes, that's Disco's question. Konnan obviously knew it was my question. He wanted to ask it, not to say it was Disco's question. Joe, you interrupted him. Dave didn't even answer the question.
Yeah.
And then you guys just went along. Okay, that's just want to get that on the record.
I was mistaken. I was not aware that Konnan intentionally was hiding that it was your question. And I thought, yes, that is correct. If that was a fumbled. You guys fumbled. Okay, so let's agree that you guys fumbled my question.
So Feeney taking accountability, though, but he's just put it on Konnan too. Yeah, he was hiding your question, bro. That's funny.
I didn't fumble.
No, Joe fumbled the question, but Dave didn't even answer it. Was the thing?
Right, that's not my fault. So why are you going off on me?
Like you didn't answer. Why would you say that wasn't the question?
Because he did. Yeah, dude, Disco's calling him out here. This is hilarious.
Was a question, wasn't it?
Here's the problem: is that Konnan's gonna forever be trolled. We even had people that night in the live stream saying, "I'm not watching this again." And then there's people who came in our chat too and is like, "I quit K100." I've seen people tweet it out. Now I haven't gone so far as that, but yeah, he's got to avoid the meltdown, or like people are just gonna use this Dave thing to trigger him all the time now. You can't sell the marks,
Anybody that hears it will hear it. So whatever. But I don't care.
Yeah, a listener pointed that out to me. They're like, you stepped on Konnan there. I don't think Konnan wanted him to know that it was Disco's question. And
correct.
No, that's not true.
Oh, so
I'm just.
It doesn't matter. There's a lot of people very critical of the interview between you and Dave. So
good, bro. I don't care. I asked them questions. I asked them the 2 questions you wanted, and what was the other one that I asked them? Oh, I asked him about the thigh slapping.
No, you didn't know. I said
the thigh slapping. Like that's the most. Who gives a dude? I asked him about the thigh slapping, bro. If you're 70, you care about. And shout out to anyone listening who's old, but you know what I mean. Like that's such a non-topic now. Everyone does that. It's the oldest conversation. Thigh slapping. Do you defend it, Meltzer?
I said, but I think it was a concerted, premeditated effort to make sure my question didn't get asked properly. So. And that's my story.
Why would I do that? Okay, well, let me ask you a question. What would be
because that's my story. And I'm sticking because that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Right.
Because Konnan didn't want to offend Meltzer.
There's, bro, as much trouble as I've been in, as many times as I've been fired, as many times as I've been suspended, as many fights as I've had on this show. For you to try to paint me as some soy boy that's afraid of anybody, it's ridiculous.
No, but like honestly,
my whole life has just been one rebellious episode after another, whether it's been in the military, in wrestling, in school. I'm just that type of guy that goes against the grain. I mean,
you heard.
Did you want me to just? No. Want me to just bring him in? Yeah.
No. However, okay, on this show we have discussed.
Right.
You asked Dave why he wouldn't have me on this, why he wouldn't be on when I was, and you heard his answer.
He answered it. Yeah.
Correct. My thing is like, Dave,
right.
Why didn't you say because you've said to me, oh, come on. I mean, that you really think that's a legitimate reason to like not want to do it?
How did I preface it? Wait, how did I preface it? It's very weird to me, Dave, that you're on Twitter all the day fighting with these other guys, answering them.
Yes. Why can't you ask him that? That's the question. Dude, you're arguing with all these faceless, no-name dumps. You're shilling for AEW constantly. Like, what's going on with that? Are you bought into the company or no? Like, why do you say they will for sure be profitable? How would you know that? Okay. Why were you wrong about 4 stories about just one family, the Anoa'i family, this year alone in the calendar 2024 year? But somehow these people will be profitable, and you're arguing with these marks and telling people if they don't read every word you ever write, you don't care about their opinions. I would ask that and be like, don't you think the perception of that would be off or something? I don't know. He would just go, well, people could think what they think, but I think, the very intelligent AEW Tony Khan. That's all he'd do. Anyways, it's not even worth it. When I super chatted to the episode with Meltzer, I was like, why don't you understand how YouTube TV works? Because I just wanted to hear him go off about that. That to me is funnier than like, I do get Konnan's side of it, but he's just going too hard on the listeners and everything. It's funny.
Right? You've been on the show. You've never been hijacked. You've never been ambushed. You've never been disrespected. What more do I need to say to have you happy?
Not the point. When he answered,
that was this lame answer that he gave.
When he gave the lame answer, you should said, come on. Like, you wouldn't want to come on and just debate that with him respectfully? Like, you didn't follow up with anything. You just asked a question. That was it. He answers like, okay, let's move on. That's it.
Because, bro, you already know that no matter what. But let me tell you why. I think the reason is because much like anybody whether it's, and I'm not even going to say names because later on they think they'll take it personally. But when somebody thinks they're right, no matter what, there's no talking any sense into them. How long have I been trying to get him? Bro, I've talked to him privately and said, what the dude, really, dude? Really? You know?
And that's fair. Yeah, everybody wants the curtain pulled back. Everyone's a sicko. And yeah, he is right, dude. When some people are stuck in their way, you can never convince them otherwise, you know? Like no matter what you say, what type of evidence, it's like cognitive dissonance, you know? Your mind's just made up. You can't escape your little bubble and you can't be objective about things. Dave just can't do that, you know? He's convinced himself and he's old. So he's just trapped in his ways with it, you know? Same with Konnan in many ways too. Konnan, man, I hope he just stops going at the chat and coping. Yeah, he's coping over this Meltzer because he's like, you know how long I tried to get him on the show? Disco had to sit out. So that told you right there it was going to be a softball interview or whatever, you know, which is fine. I mean, those can exist. But I just think when it comes to Meltzer, like you want to hear him say his same old, you just go watch his channel. He'll tell you everything he told you in the Konnan interview, right? Like nothing came of that where we were like, God damn, you know? And then the only thing that came out of that interview was, oh, El Hijo del Vikingo's not linked to AEW. And then people were like, maybe he'll be in NXT. And then Konnan, the chat was saying that to him. Like, oh man, the prospect of being in NXT, of El Hijo in NXT would be awesome. And then he's so mad at the chat, he's like, nah, well, he's not going to NXT. He's not doing that either. Like, he just shut down everything, man. So it just left you going, okay, the only thing we can take away from this, there's no new information other than Konnan's hilarious when he melts down at the chat, you know? And I don't know, that the long-term booking, let's call it, of that might not be the wisest.
Stance. And I feel that this is what I think, because the guy goes, why do you think Dave, what was the question? And why do you think Dave really doesn't want to go on the show?
Overall, after hearing the interview, I want to know, why do all of you truly think he wouldn't come on with Disco being there? Disco would have been just as respectful. Why do you truly think he would? Like, you heard his answer. Why do you truly?
Right.
But honestly,
this is what I think.
Let's say that answer is disingenuous. But what do you think the reason? Go ahead.
Right. This is what I think. Supposition. Nobody knows what I'm thinking. I almost feel that there's like a in between that world in him and who else would be in his like orbit that doesn't want to like
Sean Ross Sapp,
Tony Khan,
like those
Sapp,
type of
Tony
guys.
Khan, Kenny Omega. You said like even said Kenny Omega didn't want to come.
Those type of guys. They decided, let's none of us give any oxygen to Disco, Russo, Bischoff. I don't know how I'm not in that group, but you know somehow I got like except Tony.
You gotta pass, yeah.
Because you will do softball interviews like this.
But, right, I got to pass. But you guys, and I also think that you've actually come out and buried him. When
he's marginalized me,
right?
Like when he actually tries to minimize my input.
Right.
He doesn't listen to me. Okay, he doesn't have any respect for anything I say, which is ridiculous. And the thing is that in what do you want to call it? The bubble of professional wrestling right now, okay, of everything that's going on. There's two very clear things going on. Okay. WWE is doing great business. AEW is not. All right.
Right.
And when we review the shows, we watch these shows, we usually give glowing reviews to the WWE mostly. There's still stuff we bury.
Yeah, who doesn't? They're cooking. And me too. I was on NXT a little bit. It's my favorite show, but it is what it is, man.
On the show. But we get hate from the AEW people because we kind of bury their show. But you know, it's kind of obvious one show's doing very well and the other show's not doing well. So the criticism would be applied to the show. Obviously, it's not doing well, and the praise given to the show. Like they, you know, so a lot of like you think this deal. Any type of like
okay, whatever. They go on to continue their thing.